Translating solidarity into action, creatively enhancing the translation classroom. The rapid integration of artificial intelligence and advanced technologies into society is reshaping the higher education landscape, presenting both opportunities and significant challenges. Basically, traditional teaching methodologies are losing alignment with student expectations, and as such, students show reduced motivation and attention in theoretical teacher-led sessions. And there is also an increased reliance on Gen AI tools for carrying out assignments and research. As such, it is up to us, or it is our perspective that it is up to us as educators to rethink and to reinvent educational methodologies in such a way as to boost student engagement, to foster critical thinking and soft skills, in such a way as to prepare students for a tech-driven and uncertain future. We have to come up with new methodologies, and the study that I'm presenting here today is a pilot exercise that aims to do just that. Service learning emerges as a promising pedagogical approach for higher education, and I hope that it will meet the demands. My research questions basically were to find out whether service learning can be implemented as an innovative teaching strategy to enhance student engagement and also learning outcomes. I would also like to understand a bit what our students' perceptions towards this type of methodology, and basically what are the broader academic, professional, and social benefits of integrating social service learning into higher educational curriculum. One important thing to note after having studied this the service learning approach is that we cannot mistaken it for a form of community service or volunteering. It is, in fact, a structured experiential learning method that integrates academic objectives with real-world service. It links course content to community engagement. It encourages active citizenship and civic responsibility. So basically, as a teacher and as a first trial run, what I understood is that there is no need to make alterations to our curricula. The existing learning outcomes, the topics in the evaluation criteria can be left as such. All we have to do is look closely at our curricula, try to see what exactly are the skills, the learning outcomes that we want for our students, and then look out into the real world to our surrounding community and find an association, a societal need that needs to be addressed, and in what way our students can somehow, with their work, contribute to changing this reality. So it's a bit, I see it as opening the window to our classrooms and having students have their first contact with the real world, and making a difference within that. Now, my exercise was essentially about dealing with the translation classroom. I am an EFL teacher as well. Why did I choose a translation classroom? Particularly now, it is very timely at a time where the stereotype out there is that translations can be successfully carried out now by Gen AI tools, by machine translations, where the profession of being a translator is questioned, and students do have some insecurities about that. So I think that this exercise would be very important to bring up innovative teaching methods so that students not only stop relying on the machine to carry out their exercises, but at the same time an activity that would reassess the translator's role and their human agency, and to revalue human contributions within the translation exercise. Participants, this exercise was carried out at Universidade Católica Portuguesa in our Lisbon campus, on our Lisbon campus in Portugal. It is important to note that Católica has a CAPS project being carried out, CAPS, which is Service Learning, Innovation, and Social Responsibility, a department that is actively taking responsibility in implementing, teaching, disseminating what service learning is about insofar as teaching practices are considered. They have carried out many training initiatives where teachers are invited to learn about the methodology, to implement, and having attended one of these sessions, It was very it was very useful to me, and this is exactly how this activity, the study that I'm presenting here today, came about. The exercise, the activity is called Translation for Equality and Inclusion. Participants were students of a first-year undergraduate program in applied foreign languages. They are taking their specialization in translation. We have two sessions per week, each lasting 1.5 hours. This is a very important subject for students. It takes place in the second semester. It is their first practical approach to translation, where they learn about translation, translation challenges, strategies. They develop awareness towards the translation process. We use technologies. We try to boost their awareness towards the role of machine translation and human translators. And then our second step was that of finding a partner, which we did, a nonprofit association that provides concrete responses to many social issues: inequality, discrimination, violence, exclusion, and poverty. Basically, this association needed help in disseminating their website, not only beyond frontiers, so that their work would be highlighted outside, but also within Portugal for the non-Portuguese speaking community, so that they could know that if there are victims out there who don't speak Portuguese, they could have greater access to what they do in Portugal. Now, how was the exercise carried out? Basically through a role play exercise where I created four translation agencies in the group. So we had 19 students. We divided them into groups of 4 or 5. Each worked as an independent travel agency. Each agency had their project managers, translators, proofreaders, and they were all responsible for their own management. So the project manager had to allocate the text that were going to be translated, internal deadlines, so that they comply with the final deadline for the client, which was the teacher. All of this information was posted on the institutional Moodle page: information rubrics, assessment rubrics, deadlines. And so there was one session that was dedicated to explaining the SL methodology, to explaining what the project was about, but then classes continued as normal. So I kept going with the curriculum, with the different text types, and this was a parallel exercise that went on independently outside the classroom for a duration of a month, and more towards the end of the semester, where I thought students would have already developed more of their translation skills, and they were more prepared for an exercise like this. During that 1 month, I would dedicate 15 minutes of class time just to ask students how the exercise, the project was going, any doubts, questions, and we would always all dedicate to reflective work on all of the component of the methodology. Evaluation, the exercise was worth 20% of their final grade. This was already integrated in the curriculum because of their project work. The assessment rubric was available on Moodle, which I've already mentioned. Of course, it was essentially focused on their translation skills. It is a translation course. And so 5 marks out of 20. In Portugal, we work on a scale of 1 to 20. 5 marks was attributed to translation quality, language proficiency, presentation and professionalism, how the text was presented, how they dealt with handing in text on time, deadlines. And then there were 5 marks for participation and reflection, contribution to the group work, their depth of critical reflection on the project. Also very important to note is that there were skills that arose that were not contemplated in the curriculum, that I myself as a teacher was not expecting, and that at the same time are very difficult to put a grade on, to evaluate. I did ask for students' feedback because I did want to understand their perception and the benefits that the exercise had. I have 10 questions. I only have time for presenting 2 or 3 to you here. Overall, do you feel that the project was a success? Over 90% of students agreed that it was success. So this successful. So this reinforced the pedagogical value of using service learning. Do you think the project was an effective way to learn about translation process? They too felt it was more interesting to learn about translation with a hands-on approach rather than just learning about it theoretically. All members of my group contributed equally to the project. So again, a very strong component where everyone participated. There's this neither agree nor disagree, which possibly needs further looking into and how to get everyone actively involved in the project. There were also open-ended questions involved, and they were all very unanimous in saying that the project was very important, that they learned a lot, and they also showed a lot of openness towards developing future projects of the same kind for their learning development. As results, learning results here, I divided them into academic development. I do believe that service learning provides contextual learning possibility, reflective approach to the translation process. It enhanced students' ability to analyze, summarize information. There were improvements in their written, oral production, overall digital literacy and research skills, professional skills as well. I think it prepared them for their future careers as translators in where they recognized the importance of time management and organization. It enhanced their critical decision making and problem solving skills. They acquired accountability for their work, meaning that they knew that they were not simply waiting. They were submitting their exercise to their teacher. They realized that they were actually jeopardizing other people's work if they did not submit on time. And the fact that there was someone out there in the real world expecting their work to be handed in on time with quality and responsibility made a world of difference. Also very important was peer review. They took their colleagues' feedback into consideration, and it also developed the leadership skills of many of the project managers. Personal and social growth. Again, this was something that was unexpected for me, but students realized the importance of translation and the translator in there as a social agent. So it's more than just that famous literary translator or the translator who does subtitles for Netflix or game localization. They understood another component of translation that they hadn't realized before. There was greater civic engagement, sense of responsibility, and active participation in the community. So as a conclusion, we can say that when educators implement pedagogies that promote social agency, motivation, and critical thinking, they help transform the curriculum into a dynamic tool for realigning education with purpose, relevance, and impact. And in doing so, teachers shift from being transmitters of knowledge to becoming facilitators of deeper, more engaged student learning. Thank you.